Technical difficulties, of course, because Jim Nelson's not here. We don't know how to fix this. Yeah, so bear with us. So it was just 2 weeks ago. I was at Synod Assembly at Gustavus College in St. Peter. And that's when all the people of the southwestern Minnesota ELCA churches and their pastors get together and vote on things and worship and celebrate. Anyway, it was Sunday morning, and I was getting my breakfast, and I sat down at a table where I really didn't know many of the people. I maybe knew one or two, but that was okay because it was breakfast, and I'm not super conversational at breakfast most of the days of my life. So as I was sitting there eating, I was just concentrating on my yogurt and my coffee, and not paying attention to the conversation that was happening at the table. And I don't know what exactly preceded these words, but my head snapped up when I heard, well, just like all them Mexicans don't have driver's licenses. And I was like, mid-gulp or something. And I'm sad to tell you I was speechless. I didn't find my voice to even say, what? I didn't find my voice to defend all of the Mexicans that had just been lumped into this general categorization that obviously the man had disdain for. I couldn't find my voice. And you can tell that it had stunned most of the table, and we all got busy looking at our breakfasts, and soon the conversation shifted, and there you are. I felt ashamed and embarrassed. I felt convicted, and I still do feel convicted. It was a terrible feeling. But it's not really about my feeling better, about being comforted because of my lack of speaking up when I should have said something, anything. But what it's about, what lies at that discomfort for me is God's people being underestimated, oppressed, generalized, marginalized, and I didn't do anything to challenge it. Someone who speaks for God. And I shouldn't feel comfortable about that. I shouldn't be put at ease. I just want to feel okay, and I want everything to feel better. Who doesn't want that feeling, right? But feeling better is not the answer to that. Having my guilt put to rest is not necessarily the answer. Temporarily it makes me feel good, but it's not a result. It's not a good result. The psalmist sings today, God put a new song in my mouth, which means the psalmist is looking backwards at a time when perhaps there was great turmoil, great lament, great trouble happening in the psalmist's life. Now, this is a psalm that reorients the psalmist, that reorients us. So it's a psalm that has landed on its feet again after having gone through something and been lamenting and in doubt, right? So the psalmist is now giving thanks, but, and this is the important part, they have not forgotten the dark tunnel they have just come through to the light, right? They are saying thanks in full recognition that they have been through something, and that they won't forget it, that it has changed them. Maybe the psalmist who was writing this at the time had been held captive in war. Maybe they'd lost a spouse or their whole family. Maybe they were dealing with an occupied state. Who knows? It could have been any of those things. So when in your life have you regained your footing? Had a time of being able to give thanks to God when your head is broken through the surface of the water and you take a big, deep, greedy breath for that air because you haven't been able to do that in a long time. When have those situations been in your life? Maybe it's been a persistent doubt. Maybe it's been a feeling of distance from God that you have felt in your life. Maybe it's because of illness or divorce or a breakup or financial troubles or the death of someone or depression and anxiety. I wonder about the relatives and the parishioners left behind in Charleston and the lament they are in. And I wonder when God will put a new song in their mouth, when they will find their feet on solid ground again. So this psalm, Psalm 40, reminds us that there is a light at the end of the tunnel, that God is faithful to us, but we don't forget the journey of that long, dark tunnel. So in this psalm today, we hear the psalmist rejoice that God has heard and acted. I waited patiently for the Lord. He inclined to me and heard my cry. So God leaned in and paid attention and heard the psalmist's cry. So yes, the psalmist gives credit to God for the most recent turn of events, for things getting better. Now, in my study of this psalm this week, much to my delight, I discovered that the Hebrew for waited patiently for the Lord is more a sense of this. It's not, I waited patiently for the Lord, but I waited and waited and waited and waited for the Lord. And I don't know about you, but I don't wait patiently. I mean, not often. It's not what I'm defined by. I don't know about, maybe you're all very patient waiters. I have no idea. But the psalmist is actually, what's behind that word is more, I waited and I waited and I waited. And perhaps this is how God feels about us sometimes, right? God is probably waiting and waiting and waiting for us to stop being so good at hurting one another. I imagine God grieves and waits for us to figure out how to feed a world where people are still dying from hunger every day. I imagine God is still waiting for us to stop hating each other, with 3 black churches being burned in 4 days last week. I don't know if you heard that in the news. And did you know that for every 1 white male, there are 6 men of color in United States prisons? I imagine God grieves the continuous wars around the world, the ill treatment of women and children in all countries. I think God is impatient with our apathy. God is waiting and waiting and waiting. Yet, the psalmist says, God put a new song in my mouth. And so then I ask, when will our song change? How does our song change? You see, God doesn't wave a divine magic wand, right, to surround the world in peace. Oh, I wish it were so. I mean, God does, but not the way we think it should work, right? Yeah. But instead, God works in the subtleties and nuances of our everyday lives, writing a new song for us to sing just little bit by little bit, day after day, experience by experience. So maybe God is working out our new song by us figuring out how to talk to someone and love someone that we vehemently disagree with. Boy, that's a new song, isn't it? That's a hard song to sing. I'll be the first one to admit that. Yeah. Maybe our song will begin to change if we use this incredible social media that's at our fingertips to figure out how to find voices and skin colors that are different from our own and listen to them. So to find black authors and black reporters and black preachers to listen to and black politicians to listen to, and to have our ideas of how things are, right? How we think things are, to have those challenged and enlarged and deepened and blown out of the water. Maybe we need to listen more than we speak. Maybe we need to put ourselves in places where we are made uncomfortable, falling into it like I did, maybe, or seeking it out where you don't know the lay of the land. Putting ourselves in places where we are uncomfortable and don't know all the answers helps us to look for new possibilities, gives us new eyes and new ears. It has the ability, God working at us, on us, through all these little things, has the ability to change our hearts, has the ability to change our song, and it's God's song, right? So all week, I've been singing the refrain from this U2 song. U2 is a band, and they have a song that they wrote a long time ago called 40, and it's named after Psalm 40. And so this is the refrain I've had all week. Bono sings, I will sing a new song. I will sing a new song. Oh, it's just beautiful, isn't it? Then, get this. It's a beautiful refrain, right? But then he goes and he sings this. How long must we sing this song? How long must we sing this song? So he recognizes that God puts a new song in our mouths, and he recognizes that at the same time we are stuck in our old ruts, and we are singing the old song that we know how to sing quite well. Thank you very much, right? So there's this new song that God interrupts us with, and then we lament and get back into our old song. And then we find some new words of God's new song, and we slip back into our old ways. It's that dance back and forth. So it is God, of course, who has the power and creativity and ability to change that song that we sing. And then God says, I didn't give you this song to keep it to yourself, but for you to sing so other people can hear it, and so that you can teach it to other people, right? So I'm still searching for a song, for a phrase to have in my brain, so that when something is said where I just need to respond, but you can't believe someone said it, right? That I'm ready with a new song, whether it's even just a guttural to interrupt, or something better that I think of. Or maybe we can brainstorm later and think of ways that you can think to enter into a conversation where you felt shut out, right? Some days it will feel like we wait and we wait and we wait for the Lord. And I wonder about the folks in Charleston as they wait for their lament, their song of how long must we sing this song, to turn into I will sing a new song. I wonder how long our song will take to change in this country as we sing love wins, and yet as we still lament violence and inequality. This is what I do know. I know God does not give up on us. Even as I talked earlier in this sermon about God waiting and waiting and waiting for us to, come on, get it together. I created you. Let's do this, right? God doesn't wipe his hands clean of us. God does not give up on us. God has the audacity to continue to forgive us, which is offensive, isn't it? Because we confess this racism. We confess our deep, dark sin, and then God says, you are forgiven and I love you. Now, forgiveness, of course, isn't, it's okay, don't worry about it. No, forgiveness involves that long, dark tunnel where we are forever changed. That sin is transformed. Our lives are changed. And we might remember what it is that happened. We might remember what it is we've been a part of. But then God says the only way forward, the only way we can move forward and live forward is through my forgiveness of you and then your forgiveness of others, right? It's why we practice coming around this table once a week. We need the practice of learning the language of forgiveness, to learn what to say when something terrible has been said in your face. This helps give us the language to love and to forgive, not to condone, but to love and to forgive and to receive that forgiveness our own selves, which is an incredible thing, to reach your hands out and receive forgiveness that you know you don't deserve. And that's the offensiveness of grace, is you don't deserve it and you don't earn it. And thanks be to God that God forgives. Amen.
Amen.